we stay in the domain of investment, but go from one of the most important ecosystems from the Bay Area, from Silicon Valley that we covered. We're now moving to the other side of like where the biggest tech ecosystem of the world is growing. We're moving to China. And for that, I want to welcome our next speaker, Zhou. She's a founding member and investment director at Baidu Changcheng Investment Partners, and she's established Baidu's venture platform in Silicon Valley. For those of you who don't know, Baidu is basically the Google of China, so a massive tech company who has done a lot around artificial intelligence, one of the leaders in self-driving cars. They have an open source self-driving car platform, so very massive tech firm based out of China. And she has a very unique background, as she's one of the very few people that's intimately familiar with both very large tech ecosystems. So she's based in Silicon Valley, has seen and observed the US, but she has a very deep and extensive network as well in China. So she's led many deals across both ecosystems, and I hope she can give you a very unique introduction and insight into China's new tech investment outlook and the sector overall. Thank you very much for coming to Cluj. Very much appreciated. Looking forward to learning a lot of new insights.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and for all the entrepreneurs and the technology and scientists in Europe. Today is my honor to present my knowledge about artificial intelligence, especially in China, to all of you. As you know that in the past 3 years, I was responsible for Baidu's overseas investment in Silicon Valley. I have been witness the AI's artificial intelligence development in both countries. And I'm surprised about the charisma and the development of the AI in both countries as well. And today I want to share my knowledge with all of you about China's AI development and landscape. So the concept of artificial intelligence has been existing for about 60 years, but it has never been as popular as today. And why? I think the reason is that the world today is completely different from what we were facing 60 years ago. And today, we have data. So the total data amount of today's global data center has been increasing over 40% compound rate every year. And today, we have a very strong computing power developing from CPU to GPU. And also, we have developed a very strong algorithm from traditional neural network to today's deep learning neural network. So with all this infrastructure ready, that we have, the AI has wide application in gaming, in perception, in decision, and in feedback. So AI now is a new electricity. It is everywhere in your life right now. And it's going to be the fourth industrial revolution to the world. And it's also going to make a huge difference in every perspective in our life. For example, in computer vision, in AR, in education, in financial services, in industrial, and also in self-driving car. So for the development of AI, it starts from the tech giants because they have the very advanced computing power, algorithm, and the data. So I want to take Baidu as an example. That Baidu has been set up AI as a core strategy years ago, and it's also an AI-first company right now. As the largest search engine in China, it has accumulated trillions of web pages and billions of search data. That creates a very large data pool. And Baidu is also one of the very earliest technology giants in China that is using GPU. So it is the largest GPU cluster in China. And also, Baidu is a very early AI adopter for algorithm. It began to use machine learning for search in 2010, and also used deep learning for search in 2012. So the users of Baidu could already feel the impact of AI, especially for precision results. As a result, Baidu has accumulated very strong capabilities in speech recognition, in image recognition, in natural language processing, and in user portrait. And it could reach about 97% accuracy for speech recognition and almost 99% accuracy for image recognition. So having said above, and that I want to mention about the AI is about to drive up to 16 trillion GDP value in 2030. And among the 16 trillion, about 7 trillion will be coming from the industrial automation from the business side, and about 9 trillion will be coming from the consumer side. And the AI-driven value creation lies in a wide range of fields. For example, it's in the infrastructure layer. It will have sensors and a lot of AI chips, and also data analytics and computing power. And the second layer will be the technology layer. It's majorly about speech recognition, natural language processing, machine learning capabilities, AI platform, and computer vision. And the third layer is the application layer, ranging from the robotics, autonomous driving, drones, personal assistant, business intelligence, customer relationship service, and a lot of industrial applications, and as well as healthcare. So we can see a lot of startups from these three basic layers. And also, we noticed that the AI value is different from developed countries and the developing countries. That brings kind of different values to this two parallel world. In developed countries, AI, the value creation will focus on the increased productivity, because in developed countries like US and Canada, the market growth rate is moderate. It has very high wage levels, and the labor force is very qualified. And we'll focus on the incremental improvements for productivity, efficiency, and process optimization. But in developing countries such as China, India, the market growth rate is still very high, and the wage level is increasing. But it's kind of lacking a very skilled workforce, but they're learning very fast. So the developing countries focus on end-to-end solutions, and it is kind of revolutionary opportunities to create the solution from the bottom to the up. So I want to look at these two charts to compare about the China's GDP and the United States GDP composition. We can find out that for China, about 50% of the GDP is from agriculture and industrial. But in the United States, most of the GDP is driving from the service industry. So that means that in the future, AI will drive a lot of value from industrial sector from China. So looking at the industrial and manufacturing in detail, the AI and intelligent manufacturing is going to have about 10 trillion market size by 2025. And the growth speed of China market is much faster than the global market. And they will have a lot of opportunities in the development of smart devices, software, industrial communication equipment, as well as cloud computing. So right now, we have been observing that United States and China is being advantaged in the AI revolution. We predict that the GDP impact by the artificial intelligence by 2030 will be over 15.7 trillion US dollar. And among these, China will contribute to almost $7 trillion to the AI impact the GDP by 2030. So I guess everyone is curious, why could China contribute to that much? Because China's lack of legacy infrastructure could create leapfrogging opportunities. If you look at this chart, we will notice that China's pace of adoption across various technology platforms is amazing. So if we look at the car sharing industry, the penetration rate for Didi to reach 50% is less than 3 years. But for Uber, it's still yet to reach 50% yet in the US. If we look at the mobile payment, it took Alipay only 4 years to reach the 50% penetration rate, but Apple Pay still needs to reach 50% yet. And also for the online video, iQIYI, which is US Netflix, takes only 6 years to reach 50% rate, but Netflix still yet to 50%. So I think the reasons for this kind of fast penetration rate could be attributed to several reasons. One is that Chinese people is very eager to adapt on new technologies. The second is about mobile internet using rate in China is over 50%. And right now, according to the newest data, about 800 million Chinese people are using mobile internet, and they are the user of WeChat as well. And the third reason is that in China, the logistic cost is significantly lower. It's kind of having the very large advantage of logistic. So now by looking at the AI company startup setup, US and China now is about a similar number, even though China is several years lagging behind about a starting point. But by 2015, actually 2016, China has almost 166 AI startups, and it's about a similar number to the US. And I also want to point about the AI investment focus between US and China. There is slightly different. US being very strong in the infrastructure level, so the accumulated the investment on chips and on semiconductor is much more advanced than that in China. But China is catching up on the technology layer, so the AI platform, the speech recognition, computer vision, natural language processing are pretty compatible. In terms of applications, for example, robotics, autonomous driving, China has attracted a significant amount of investment. I think that it is kind of because of China's fast adoption on AI application. So China has a very unique structure advantage in terms of data and funding. With a tremendous amount of mobile internet user in China has accumulated tons of data, and the data will be used to train the algorithm. It has such a great advantage in terms of data and user behavior. And we can see that the usage of mobile payment for China is about 50 times more than the United States. And for bike sharing, it's about 300 times more. For the online food takeout service, China is about 10 times more than the United States. So the total equity funding for the AI startups in China has been accounted for almost 50% globally in 2017. So here is the AI industry landscape in China. And we can see that there is already some of the startups in infrastructure level, and that there is a lot of computer vision, speech recognition, algorithm startups in the technology level. And for applications, it has a great amount of startups already, from healthcare to marketing to fintech to customer relationship service, and also to different to industrial and also self-driving cars. So this is a landscape for AI development in China so far. So this leads to the ending question about what are the opportunities for Europe at this point. So a lot of you probably know that right now the US and China is under kind of the trade war, sadly. So a lot of AI investment that was having done globally right now reduced a lot. According to the CB Insights data, China's AI investment in the US decreased a lot, starting from last year. But I think the capital still need to deploy somewhere, and I think it creates great opportunities for startups in Europe. And according to the development of the AI in China, I think there's still a lot of co-partnership opportunities in the infrastructure level and also in the algorithm level. And I think with the accelerated development in technology and also globalization, I look forward to see the upcoming and the tremendous opportunities of further AI development in both China and a potential partnership between China and Europe. Thank you very much.